Hello, hello, high level listeners. Welcome to episode 5 of season 2 of our Advanced English podcast series. And today we're going to give you some high level vocabulary about relaxing after work. More specifically, this is having a stressful day at work and then relaxing and unwinding afterwards.
Yes, absolutely. So, hi everyone. I'm Kat, the American voice here at High Level Listening. I'm here with Mark, the British voice of our channel, and together we want to help take your English to the next level with new expressions, real life phrases, and conversational vocabulary with 2 different accents and speaking styles.
Just a quick reminder that all high level listening members can download the PDF transcripts of this episode and every single episode as well. So that's really useful if you want to study offline or study at your own speed. Members of the channel can also get discounts on things like our Season 1 study packs, our future courses, and much more.
So, we're continuing in our Advanced English podcast into season 2. So, I will read my American script, and then Mark will read his British script about how we each decompress and relax after a difficult day or even a difficult week at work. Then we'll go through the script line by line and sentence by sentence to make sure that you understand everything and feel more confident using these phrases in the future.
Okay, so let's hear the scripts. Kat will go first, and I will ask Kat the question, how do you relax after a stressful day at work?
Sometimes it's just one of those days, feeling a bit overwhelmed at work, swamped with emails, boss is being a pain. It's enough to drive you crazy sometimes. I try my best to take a breather at work, but sometimes I just need to get myself home and veg out on the couch for a bit. Once I've had some time to myself, I try to collect myself and do something distracting to get my mind off everything. Maybe doing the dishes or going for a walk. On the weekend, I usually carve out some me time by either treating myself to a spa day or simply lounging around at home with a good movie or putting on some soothing music, maybe doing some yoga. With work being so stressful, it's really important for me to have this time to unwind and recharge, making sure I'm ready to tackle the week ahead. All right, so that was my American version and my experience. Let me ask Mark the same question for his British script. Mark, how do you relax after a stressful day at work?
Definitely do have busy days when work feels like I'm just buried in work and I'm struggling just to keep my head above water. I usually can't take a break either because it's just one thing after another. It's only when I get home that I can finally decompress and switch off literally and metaphorically. That means I put my phone on silent, close out of all the programs on my laptop and ignore any work emails for the rest of the day. Cooking and cleaning take my mind off of work as well. When it's the weekend, going for a walk or doing some exercise really helps put the week behind me too. I think having this downtime to recuperate really helps me reset and feel ready for the week ahead. Okay, so now you've heard both of our scripts, we're going to go back to the start and go through them and highlight the most interesting vocabulary and phrases just to help you understand everything you've heard. So back to the start. Kat, do you ever have stressful days at work?
Sometimes it's just one of those days. Sometimes it's just one of those days. Feeling a bit overwhelmed at work, swamped with emails, boss is being a pain. It's enough to drive you crazy sometimes. We have a lot of good vocabulary in both of these scripts, but I particularly like this first sentence. Do you ever have stressful days at work? Yes. They happen so often, we simply use the phrase, just one of those days. Just one of those days. And usually it means a stressful day, a hard day, a difficult day. It's just one of those days. Sometimes we have just one of those weeks. Just one of those weeks. A bad week, a difficult week, a rough week. It happens so commonly that we actually just have a phrase for it. Well, that's life. It's just one of those days. Feeling a bit overwhelmed. Overwhelmed at work. Now, overwhelmed is feeling like you have too much on you, too many things going on. I'm feeling overwhelmed. Too many things going on. They're stressing me out. So I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed at work, swamped with emails. I really like this word, swamped. Yes, it comes from the word swamp, which is kind of a wet sort of mini lake with lots and lots of plants growing. You think in Florida, in the south of the United States, these swamps. Now, if you are,
Shrek.
yes, Shrek, he lives in a swamp. If you are swamped with emails, you are completely inundated, flooded, covered with water, swamped with emails. We often use this word when you have way too many things going on at the same time. I'm swamped today, meaning I'm so busy. There are so many things happening. I'm completely surrounded, swamped with emails. Boss is being a pain. My boss is being a pain. This is not a word that I would say to my boss. If my boss is being a bit difficult, maybe that's a nicer way of saying that. But if I'm saying it to my friend, my boss is being a pain. A pain would be that they're being difficult. Maybe they're stressed. So their stress is negatively impacting me. My boss is being a pain. Probably the longer version that I would say only to my friends, a pain in the ass. Pain in the ass means that they are really being very, very difficult, okay? But the nicer version, even though I still wouldn't say this directly to my boss is being a pain. My boss is being a pain. It's enough to drive you crazy sometimes. It's enough to drive you crazy sometimes. So if my boss is being a pain, they're being difficult. If I'm swamped with emails, I have so many, no free time at all. If I'm a bit overwhelmed at work, I guess it's just one of those days. What about you, Mark? Do you ever have stressful days at work, or is your life perfect?
I definitely do have busy days when work feels like I'm just buried in work and I'm struggling just to keep my head above water. So, Kat's question was useful there. Do you have stressful days or is your life perfect? I think that influences my script because I said, I definitely do have busy days. I added the extra word. I definitely do have busy days. So it is correct to say, I have busy days. I definitely have busy days. That is direct, simple, and clear. That's probably what I would write in an email because it's short and clear. But when I'm talking, I can add an extra word to add a little more emphasis. And this emphasis contrasts this perfect life. I definitely do have busy days. So I'm stressing that, work is not always perfect. My life is not always easy. I do have busy days. You might be surprised to hear, or believe it or not, I do have busy days. You also hear this, I think, when you hear celebrities or rich, successful people talking. Everybody assumes their life is great, their life is perfect. But sometimes they have interviews and they talk about their own problems. They use this kind of structure as well. Like a singer might say, yeah, I definitely do have days where I don't feel confident. Or maybe a fitness instructor might say, yeah, I definitely do have days where I feel lazy and I just want to eat junk food. And maybe that's different from what people expect. So to emphasize that difference, you can put do right there. So me too. I definitely do have busy days where work feels like I'm just buried in work. So to bury, that's B-U-R-Y. Bury is to cover something completely so it disappears. So a dog might dig a hole and bury it in the garden, so you can't see it anymore. If I am buried, then I am covered in work. There's so many tasks, there's so much to do. I am buried. And obviously, if I'm under the work, I can't move, maybe I can't breathe. It's a very stressful image. It's a very stressful way to say it. This is obviously not literal, but it's a phrase we use when you're very, very busy. I'm buried in work. I noticed that Kat and I also used like some phrases with water to mean busy, because I used a metaphor, a figurative way as well. I'm struggling just to keep my head above water. So if Kat is swamped, then it's like the green swampy water is up here and she's swimming and struggling to keep up. I'm using the same kind of phrase. I'm struggling to keep my head above water. So it's like I'm swimming, and swimming is working, and the water is all my tasks. The water is all the emails and the meetings and the things I have to solve. If I stop and I slow down, I will sink and I'll go underwater. And that's obviously very stressful and bad. But if I can keep my head above water, then I can just meet my deadlines. I can just be on time. I can just finish everything, but I can't stop. I need to keep swimming, and that's very tiring and exhausting. So yeah, we both use kind of water phrases to describe being busy. So I'm struggling just to keep my head above water means I'm super busy. Okay, so at work, can you take a break while you're there?
I mean, I try my best to take a breather at work, but sometimes I just need to get myself home and veg out on the couch a bit. So while I'm at work, I try my best. I try my best. I make an effort, okay? I try my best to take a breather. Take a breather. Now, feeling very stressed, sometimes you feel like you can't catch your breath, okay? You can't catch your breath. Now, this could be physically, like if you are running very quickly and, "Whew, oh my gosh, I need to catch my breath," then you physically cannot breathe. You need to catch your breath and catch up with your breathing. So if you take a breather, you are taking a break. So if you need to catch your breath, oh, maybe you should take a breather. So I know breath, breathe, and breather, all of them have a little bit of a different pronunciation. So if you take a breather, you take a break. You take a break. You need a breather, you need a break. We can use them in the same way: to take a break and need a break, take a breather, need a breather. Now, I do try while I'm at work, but sometimes I just need to get myself home and veg out on the couch for a bit. Sometimes I just need to get myself home and veg out on the couch for a bit. Instead of just go home, I need to go home. I need to get myself home. Sounds like there's a lot of effort there. I'm tired. I'm stressed. I didn't have time to take a breather at work, and I need to get myself home. Okay. Get to the car, turn on the car, get all my items, drive myself home. It sounds like a lot of effort. So I'm trying to get myself home. Grab the kids, get them home. That means I'm in control of the situation, but I need to make all the effort here. So I need to get myself home and veg out on the couch for a bit. Get myself home and veg out. Veg out. Now, even when I was a kid, I thought vegging out was eating vegetables. But vegging out means to act like a vegetable. And in English, we often use the word vegetable to mean kind of lazy or not doing anything, just sitting there like a vegetable.
Like a
So,
couch potato.
like a couch potato, if you are a vegetable, then you are not doing anything. So, if you are relaxing, doing something quiet, not really doing anything, not saying anything. You are vegging out. Vegging out. I think of it as relaxing and doing nothing. Vegging
Hmm.
out. And it's VEG. VEG. Vegging out would be VEGING.
Double G. I'd put a double
Vegging?
G on it.
Really?
Well, it's vegging.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I think we'd still say vegging, but it goes consonant, vowel,
Yeah.
consonant. So I've got to put a double G on it.
Yeah, because
Vegging.
and it's funny, do you say veg out VEG or VEGE?
VEG. That's the only spelling I
VEG.
know of it. Yeah.
I think maybe that's New Zealand and Australia when they say veg, fruit and veg, they put VEGE. So I was just wondering if it
Oh,
was.
I don't know. No, I've never seen that. It's a phrase we use in the UK. Yeah. Veg out on the sofa
Mm-hmm.
for the weekend. Do absolutely nothing physical at all. Really lazy.
Veg out on the couch, veg out on the sofa, and for a bit. So we'll talk a little bit more about this. But Mark, can you take a break while you're at work?
I usually can't take a break because it's just one thing after another. So the main phrase, it's just one thing after another. So this is a phrase that means I'm very stressed and I'm very busy because there's another task and another task and another one and another interruption. I have a lot of things to do and the tasks keep coming and coming. It's just one thing after another. So every time I think I'm finished, a new task comes in and needs my attention. So at work, I have to answer some emails. And then, I get an urgent call from my boss. And then my PC crashes. And then my colleague feels sick and they have to go home. And then it's time to pick up the kids from school. It's one thing after another. So there's no time for any breaks. There's no time for rest. Maybe there's even no time to eat or actually make a cup of tea or take 5 minutes to relax. It's nonstop. It's very tiring. This is a very heavy workload. It's one thing after another. And maybe it's not normally like this. Maybe this is an unusually stressful day. But today, for some reason, it's just one of those days. It's just one thing after another. It's nonstop.
My granny used to say, if it ain't something, it's something else. And
Right.
so my granny is from the south of the United States. So she says, ain't. If it ain't something, it's something else. So it just means that there's always bad things happening. So if it isn't one thing, one bad thing, then it's a different bad thing. So if it ain't something, it's something else. So
Right.
you
Yeah.
can take that phrase as well. It's not a super common phrase, but every time I heard my granny say that, I think it's just perfect for some of those days, right?
Right. It's never just one problem. It's always a couple in a row. They
Yeah.
never just make it easy. Yeah. Sometimes just one thing after another.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and continue kind of your second train of thought there. When can you finally relax? Like, do you have to go all the way home before you can finally relax?
Yes, I do. It's only when I get home that I can finally decompress and switch off, literally and metaphorically. So, because it's one thing after another, it's only when I get home that I can finally decompress and switch off. So I have 2 words for relaxing here. Decompress. We've probably talked about decompress before, but it's a really good word. It means relax. But to decompress, I imagine you're in a quiet space. Maybe you're alone. And it's finally when you can let go of the pressure of work and you feel like you're not needed. Your responsibilities are over. Nobody's going to call you. Nobody needs you. You don't have to be polite to any customers or colleagues. You can decompress. Sometimes people need 10 minutes to decompress. Sometimes people need a couple of hours after a long, stressful day. I think when people go home on their commute back home, they are decompressing in the car or on the train. And I think their minds are just slowly clearing, emptying, and they're finally coming back to themselves. They're not in work mode anymore. The other phrase for relaxing is switch off. So I said literally and metaphorically. Literally means, for switch off, means I take my phone and I turn it off. So you switch off your phone, switch off your computer, you'd switch off a device and the screen goes black and it doesn't work. Metaphorically, I can switch off, and that means my brain. I switch off my brain and I stop thinking about work. Maybe I stop thinking in general. I'm kind of zombie mode because I switch off. So to switch off is to completely forget about your work and forget about all the pressure. So there's two things. I can decompress and switch off, literally and metaphorically. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But Kat, how do you stop yourself from thinking about work?
Once I've had some time to myself, I try to collect myself and do something distracting to get my mind off everything. Maybe doing the dishes or going for a walk. So if I've had some time to myself, that means no kids, no work, no family, just some time for me. So once I've had some time to myself, or after I've had some time to myself, I do try to collect myself and do something distracting. We've got things to do. I can't just veg out on the couch all evening. I've got things to do. So I do try to collect myself. When you collect yourself, I think that you've kind of broken apart a little bit. Maybe you're incredibly sad. Maybe you were laughing so hard that you have to start to control your feelings again. Maybe you are so stressed that you just go home and just plop yourself on the couch and you lose all motivation to get up. So if you collect yourself, you are trying to control all of those emotions. You know, when you decompress, when you switch off, you're trying to control yourself again so you can get up and find that motivation to do something. So I want to do something distracting. Maybe I laid down on the couch and I just kept thinking about work. And that's not relaxing. I can't veg out if I'm still thinking about work. So I collect myself and do something distracting. Distracting is to take your focus away from something. So if we are teaching a class and two students are talking in the background, that's distracting. We keep losing focus and looking at the students who are talking. So if we want to kind of change our focus and think about something else, we need to find something that's distracting. To get my mind off everything, to get my mind off things. So when you think about something, you know, what's on your mind? What's on your mind? And if I want to get my mind off something, I want to stop thinking about it. So if I want to get my mind off things, to get my mind off everything, I might do something a little boring, like doing the dishes, going for a walk, getting out of the house for a bit, just something distracting me from work. Now, what about you? How do you stop yourself from thinking about work?
That means I put my phone on silent, close out of all the programs on my laptop, and ignore any work emails for the rest of the day. Cooking and cleaning take my mind off of work as well. So in my last sentence, I said I switch off literally and metaphorically. Literally, to switch off, I will put my phone on silent. Put is the collocation when you change the mode of your phone. If it makes a noise, you can put it on speaker. If you make it quiet, you put it on silent. If you're on a plane, you put it on airplane mode. So when you change that setting, you put your phone on a setting. So I put my phone on silent. So even if I get a message or an email, I won't hear it. unless I look at it. Another literal switch off is I close out of all the programs on my laptop. So Zoom, Teams, everything, I close those programs. It is totally right to say I close all the programs. I close the programs. But in my script, I said I close out of all the programs. We've seen examples like this in our previous episodes where native speakers use a phrasal verb even if we don't have to, like send over an email is send an email, or park up means park. I'm doing the same thing here, close out of a program. It has the same meaning, but a phrasal verb is a bit more conversational and a bit more casual. And we want to give you real life conversational English. So here you go. The phrasal verb is close out of all the programs. So those are the ways I literally switch off. Metaphorically, I ignore any work emails. That's me metaphorically switching off. I'm just ignoring emails. Even if I see a message and a new one pops into my inbox, I'm not going to open it because I'm off and I want to decompress. Just like Kat as well, boring tasks help me relax. Cooking and cleaning take my mind off of work as well. So Kat said, get my mind off. I'm saying, take my mind off. And it's the same meaning. It helps me forget about it. It helps me stop thinking about it. So it takes my mind off of it. If I'm sad or unhappy, hanging out with my friends or doing some exercise will take my mind off of it. Or if I'm annoyed, playing some video games will take my mind off of it. So I'm distracting myself on purpose, so I'm not thinking about negative or bad emotions. I'm deliberately distracting myself. Okay, so on the weekends, do you try to take time to yourself on those 2 days?
On the weekend, I usually carve out some me time by either treating myself to a spa day or simply lounging around at home with a good movie, putting on some soothing music, maybe doing some yoga. So on the weekend, I usually carve out some me time. So if we carve out some time, carving is when we take a knife and we cut into something, okay? We are carving. So if you are carving out some time, that means that you are making time. You are pushing your schedule a little bit forward, pushing your schedule a little bit back. You are making that time. You are creating that time. Now, sometimes it's not just writing it in your schedule book. You might actually have to move some things around. That's why we say carving it out. Carve out some me time. So I took some time to myself and I'm carving out some me time. And I use this a lot. I need some me time. No kids, no husband, no work, no pets, no nothing. I need some me time. Usually it's because I'm stressed. I need some time alone. Some me time. Even some me time could involve my friends. It could involve my family. But I think usually me time is time that you like to spend alone by yourself doing your favorite things. So I try to carve out some me time by either treating myself. Treating myself is to do something nice for yourself. Treating myself to a spa day. Now, a spa day sounds very expensive and fun, but a spa day could also be something at home. Maybe you put on a hair mask or a face mask, or you paint your nails, or you could actually go out, get your hair done, get your nails done, do something nice for yourself. That is treating yourself. Treating myself to a spa day, treating myself to a little shopping, treating myself to a little shopping, or simply lounging around at home. Lounging around at home. So if you are lounging at home, you are laying back, relaxing. Just like Mark said, sometimes we add a little extra word. If you are lounging around, I think maybe you're laying on the bed, then maybe you're laying on the couch. Then maybe you're sitting at the table, and then maybe you're laying back down on the couch. So if we're just lounging around, laying around, I would probably get in trouble if I was supposed to be doing some chores and my mom says, you're just laying around the house. Oh, but I'm tired. Oh, I'm laying on the bed. And then I was laying on the couch. And then I was lounging by the pool. So lounging around kind of means that you're going from one place to the other, but you're still just laying down, not doing anything.
Right, you're not achieving anything. Right?
Not at all. So maybe you're lounging around at home with a good movie, a good book, a good show. That just means that, it's something that makes you feel good. A good movie, a good book, a good show, or putting on some soothing music. Soothing. Soothing is calming. When your baby is crying and you need to soothe the baby, that means you need to calm the baby down. So, putting on some soothing music, maybe doing some yoga. Now, we do use the word do for yoga, doing some yoga, doing some stretches, doing some exercise. All right, so what about you, Mark? Do you try to take some time to yourself on the weekends?
When it's the weekend, going for a walk or doing some exercise really helps put the week behind me. So, going for a walk or doing some exercise really helps put the week behind me. That's the main phrase, put the week behind me. When we think about time in English, the future is in front of me, so the week ahead, and the past is behind me. And when it's behind me, it's finished, it's over, and also I'm over it. It's behind me. I can't change it. I can't do anything about it. I don't want to look back anymore. I want to look forward. So when it's behind me, it's not affecting me anymore. I'm over it. I have forgotten about it. Now I'm looking forward. You might hear this phrase in a meeting, like, let's put that result behind us. It was a bad quarter. Let's put that quarter behind us. So don't think about it anymore. It's in the past. I'm focused on the future. If you've had a busy day at work, you might say, I just want to put today behind me and move on. So if I put it behind me, I put it into the past so I can forget about it and look forwards. So going for a walk or doing some exercise really helps me put the week behind me. This horrible, stressful week. I don't want to think about it anymore. Exercising or going for a walk helps me put it behind me. So, last question of our scripts. How do you feel after you've finally relaxed a little bit?
With work being so stressful lately, it's really important for me to have this time to unwind and recharge, making sure I'm ready to tackle the week ahead. So, Mark just talked about putting something behind us because we want to look forward. So, I'm ready to tackle the week ahead. Now, I want to start with this first phrase, with work being so stressful lately. It's kind of an odd grammatical structure, but we use it quite often. With work being so stressful lately. That means this is what's happening right now. With work being so stressful lately. That means recently, work has been really stressful, but it's happening right now. So, with my husband being so busy this week, I'm going to take the kids to work every day, or I'm going to take the kids to school every day. With my kids being so tired from exams lately, we should go on a fun little family day trip. With my parents being in town, I'm really busy and I can't go out for coffee. So it's kind of telling you what's happening currently. With work being so stressful lately, this is what's happening right now. So it's really important for me to have this time to unwind and recharge. Unwind and recharge. Unwind. So when you wind something up, here we can wind up the cord. We wind up, starts to get tighter and tighter and tighter until we finally need to de-stress and unwind. Okay, so if we're all wound up, it's an irregular one, wound up, we feel very kind of tight and stressed. And then we can unwind a little bit. The next word we have is recharge. Recharge, to charge again. Now, when we have a low battery, we often take our charger, we plug it in, and we charge our phones. With humans, we often treat ourselves like a battery. We're not 100%. We need to recharge, which means we need to put that battery, put that energy level back to 100. So unwind and recharge, making sure I'm ready to tackle the week ahead. So if we want to tackle something, we've used this a couple of times in previous episodes. If we want to tackle the week ahead, that means that we are going to really solve the problems that are coming. So tackle a problem usually means that the problem is quite big and you need to take apart the problem piece by piece and work through it. So if we want to tackle an issue, tackle the work, tackle a problem, tackle the week ahead, we are really getting ready to fight. We're really getting ready to fight that week ahead because we know with work being so stressful lately that next week is probably going to continue to be stressful and we need to tackle the week ahead after feeling recharged.
Yeah, you probably see
So,
tackle in
mhm.
sports. If you watch TV, if you watch football, then a player tackles another player. So it's a very physical way to address a problem. So I feel like if you tackle the problem, you're giving a lot of energy into it. And now you have all this energy because you've relaxed. You can really go into the next week like full power, full force, like a football player or something.
Right. So, how do you feel after you've relaxed a little?
I think having this downtime to recuperate really helps me reset and feel ready for the week ahead. So, downtime. I think having this downtime, if you put that in Google, it will probably suggest free time as a synonym. And that's kind of right, but I think there's a difference between downtime and free time. If you have free time, I imagine that's time for doing things like hobbies or socializing or going out. But downtime, that feels like time for doing nothing. Got no responsibilities, no pressure. You can just sit on the sofa for hours and achieve nothing. That's downtime. So no exercise, no hobbies or anything. Downtime, again, sometimes it's the only way people can relax. Some people really need some downtime. Even after a weekend, you've been seeing your friends, going shopping, watching TV. Maybe you've done some relaxing things, and after that, you're tired of all these fun things. So you need some downtime where you do absolutely nothing. So in my downtime, I just sit on the sofa and watch TV. I don't expect people to do anything in their downtime. So I think having this downtime to recuperate means to recover. This is recover or get your strength back physically and mentally. You might need a few days off to mentally recuperate. And physically, if you get an injury or if you get hurt, we also say recuperate. Like if you watch the news, somebody's in an accident, the news might say he's recuperating in hospital. So it can be quite a big injury or a serious injury. And when you get better and heal, you recuperate. And again, like Kat said, we often talk about ourselves like machines or like phones or with batteries. Earlier, I switched off, and then Kat needs to recharge. And one more, reset. So having this downtime to recuperate really helps me reset. So if you reset your computer, it forgets everything and it starts fresh. It's a new start. If you reset your phone, it shuts off, forgets everything, and then comes back on, and it's brand new. We can do the same thing mentally. Like, I can wipe away last week. I can forget about it. Next week is a new week. It's a fresh start. I can reset. Again, put it behind me, forget about it, reset, and get ready for the week ahead, the next week.
All right, excellent. We did it. We hope you learned lots of new and useful vocabulary in this class. Why not try and practice in the comments below? How do you relax after a stressful day? Can you use some of the vocabulary you saw in today's episode?
Yes, we love reading your comments as always, and we do reply to every single one as well. So, share your stories about how you relax with us. And don't forget, you can become a member if you would like the PDF transcript of this episode. It's already online. You'll be able to see it if you remember. So go ahead, sign up and grab that.
Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.